कृपा सिंधु इवच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभुर्त्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, welcome to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Southern Division. This is the fifth wave, Panchama Vibhaga, Panchama Lahari, and we have been discussing Sthāyi Bhav and how the Gaun Bhavas are there. And a lot of insights Rupa Goswami in these verses has been explaining about Rati, about this Rati, especially both the Mukhya and the Gauna. So I'm just going to recap what we discussed yesterday and then continue the discussion. So we have seen that Rupa Goswami mentions how all the Sthāyi Bhav, when there is Rati, that it causes within the devotee and Krishna Vibhav, Anubhav, Satviki Bhav, and Sanchari Bhavs, and all together give rise to Rasa. And then Rupa Goswami goes on to define what is Vibhava in text 87. I'm just sharing that. Yeah, he goes on to, define what is Vibhava, the conditions which cause Rati to become very suitable for relation taste is called Vibhava. Then he defines what is Anubhava. I've recapped this yesterday also, and then there are mental conditions like Nirveda, which become the Sanchari Bhavas. And then there is also there are other factors which you know which help to relish rasa. That is the poetic works and the literary dramas. So that's what yesterday we have been discussing. But then he says that the ultimate cause is the influence of rati, and this rati is inconceivable, sweet, and most astonishing. It is most astonishing. No. And then he defines this rati as Mahashakti Vilasatma Bhava Achintya Swarupa Bhak. Ratyakya iti ayam yukto na hi tarkena baditam. Bharatadi esha hi praktaner api udharita. That the ancient authorities have given the following statement in the Mahabharata as an example to show that Rati, which is a manifestation of the Ladini Shakti, is beyond the conceivable. It derides even liberation. It gives joy, giving joy to the Lord Himself, and it cannot be understood by material logic. So, yesterday we saw the commentary on this, and where in the Mahabharata, Achintya Kalohi Bhava. Yesterday we went through this verse, and Rupa Goswami further says that attractive rati makes Krishna and other things into Vibhava and other elements, clearly increases itself by these elements. It keeps on increasing. And then it is similar to an ocean, nourishing the clouds by its water, nourishes itself by rain coming from the clouds. And then we yesterday discussed Kavya Natayo, the cause of sprout of Rati in a person, having Rati. This was very important. So how, when the enjoyer of poetic works newly develops a sprout of Rati, those poetic works become somewhat a cause of realizing Vibhav and other elements. The devotee develops a taste for rasa simply by a little hearing about the Lord. In these acts of hearing, the strength of rati causes realization of vibhav and other elements. So this is hearing. Satam rasasvada. Ishat shruti Vidu. So by hearing, by Natya Kavayo, the second one, we saw this Natya Kavayo and hearing from previous devotees in Voksati. And then we also saw a very interesting discussion which happened yesterday, that how, you know, how Rati reveals Krishna and things related to him. How Rati reveals this. We saw that as the shelter of qualities and Krishna being experienced in that way increases the Rati. Increases the Rati. And because Rati and other elements mutually reveal each other in this way, it is always seen that the Sthāyi bhav, vibhavs, anubhavs, sattvic bhavs, and they will clearly assist each other. So all these assist each other. And yesterday we discussed if there is any deformity in the vibhava elements, the power of the is curtailed. Deformity means that there are unsuitable qualities in vibhava and other elements. So we saw this deformity, like Radharani should be younger in the drama, but if she is elder, then there is a we cannot relish the rasa. So that was the point which was being made. That was the point which was being made. So, and then alaukikya prakrteyam suduhora rasasthiti yatra sandran sadharanataya bhava sadhu spuranti ami. Activities are rasa by nature non-material. They're difficult to comprehend. The various ratis and the other elements create a complete identity between the emotions of the contemporary devotee with previous devotees depicted in scriptures. So yesterday we started discussing this. So 101, 2, and 3 will discuss this. And anyone remembers? I gave two examples of this. Uh, I gave two examples. Anyone remembers those examples? Where there is identity of the present devotee with the uh, devotee of the previous times who was absorbed in that same emotion, and the present devotee is also experiencing the same. So there is a identity there. We had seen that. Anyone remembers? What is it? Which are the two examples I gave? Anyone knows? Yesterday we have discussed this. Veerkrish Prabhuji. Haribol? Yesterday we discussed this, right? Oh, Sudashna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I started to
1 second, I'm unmuting you. Yeah, you can speak, and you have to be a
Hare Krishna
little
Prabhu.
clear.
I'm audible Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah.
Prabhu. Prabhu, yesterday we discussed one recent example and one previous example. The recent example was an actor, I think, from Odisha who acted two times, one time as
Narasimha
as Narasimha and next time as Dasarat.
Ashrat, and he
And
left the world during the drama itself on the stage.
second time he left the world.
Second
And
example, which I spoke.
Gopi, second example of Gopi when he Krishna left.
Second example was of whom?
Gopis.
Gopis. Okay, but again, the gopis are actually not the present devotees. They are the
Yes,
devotees
yes.
themselves in Krishna Lila. That is a different example.
Then,
Another example I had given.
yeah, another example was Alvar, which
Kulashekar
Kulshekara,
Alvar.
Kulshekara.
Kulashekar Alvar. So anyone else knows any other examples in the Chaitanya Charitamrit, which is being mentioned? Chaitanya Charitamrit. Chaitanya Charitamrit. Anyone from Chaitanya Charitamrita? Anyone knows? Nityanand Prabhu? No. Actually, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the South India Yatra, then he was invited by a Brahmana for lunch. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is waiting, and inside his Brahmana has not yet started cooking. And then Mahaprabhu asked, "What happened? No, how can I? He's feeling the separation that Sita has been abducted by Lord Ram. The incident is over, and Sita is back with Lord Ram, but he's still reading the Ramayana, he's absorbed, and he's feeling that same, for Sita Mata." And it goes on, and Mahaprabhu ultimately had to tell, no, that this event has already over, but still he was not convinced. Ultimately, Mahaprabhu together cooked and he fed him, and then Mahaprabhu went further down, and the Kurum Puran found out that verse. He got the original book and showed it to this Brahmana and told that actually it was Maya Sita was abducted. So that was another incidence, identifying the events which had already happened, which now the present emotions. So that's the power of emotions. So the emotions, the material emotions, are the ones emotions which bind us in the material world. But the spiritual emotions, when we have that kind of identity, complete identity between the emotions of the contemporary devotee with the previous devotees depicted in scriptures, that's the cause of our liberation. So yesterday in detail we saw this, and we saw Vishwanath Chakra Thakur also narrating this. In a drama, the actor takes the role of Dasharat on hearing that Ram went to the forest, absorbed in the motion, also gives up his life. So this is an actual incident which has happened. Okay, now the next verse we'll discuss for today. This is unrestricted identity of the bhavas. Esham swapara sambandha niyama nirnayo hi Sadharanyam tad evuktam bhavanam purva surabhi. The ancient sages, Purva Surabhi, have described Eva Uktam, the unrestricted identity, Swapara Sambandha Niyama Nirnayo Hiya of the Bhavas, Bhavanam, between the present and the past devotees. Esham Sadharanyam tad. So the ancient sages have described the unrestricted identity of the bhavas between the present and the past devotees. And then he gives a scriptural proof. Tad uktam Shri Bharatena Shaktirasti Vibhavade Kwapi Sadharani Krito Pramata Tad Abhedaina Swayam Yaya Paripadyate. Bharat Muni has said, so the ancient authorities is Bharat Muni is giving the reference. In the matter of identification, Sadharani Krito, there is an indescribable power, Shakti Rasti, in Vibhava and the other elements, Vibhavade, by which copy the audience, Pramata, become non-different from the characters, Tad Abhedena, depicted on the stage. Swam Yaya Pratipadyate. So this is what happens. And my question to all of you, uh, especially in the case of drama, it will come up. Now, Rup Goswami and Jiv Goswami in their commentary are going to describe this in detail. My question to you all is that in the drama, there is a stage, and these characters, the actors in the stage, uh, they they impersonate some character, like Dashrath or whatever it is. And there is that character only is the actor who is speaking. They impersonate uh, themselves as something else, and they are the actors who are speaking, and the hearers are the spectators. Now, who is actually relishing more rasa? Think about this. Who is more relishing rasa in this drama? Who is relishing more rasa? Anyone? Shrishti Gupta Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandvat Pranam.
Hmm.
I think it is the person who is acting.
The person who's acting, yes. Okay. Sudhanshu Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, mm, I think both are good, but depends. I think audience, and I have some reason behind this
The
because
audience. The audience.
yes,
You're saying the audience. Now, why do you say the audience?
because what happens, of course, it may sometimes happen with the actor also, but mostly audience because the actor who is acting, he is also taking care that when he is acting, then he's not actually, he has to remember all the dialogues and how to act. So in that way, maybe he forget. Actually he cannot enjoy in that way. But audience, he's totally free. He's not to act, so he can
Okay.
release more because he
Ye-
doesn't have bondage. They don't have bondage.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good, good thought, you know. Okay, Vinita Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji then. Prabhuji, according to me, what I understand audience because we start seeing the character.
No, it is who?
Audience.
Audience. Okay. Why? Why is it
Yeah,
so?
because we start seeing the character
Hmm.
in the actor, and we see it, and we start believing that he whatever he says, it's
Hmm.
that way.
Actually,
Whatever
it
he's
is,
performing.
yeah, both Sudhanshu and Vinita Mataji are correct. It is the audience who are actually relishing the rasa. And the more the audience identifies themselves, you know, it's a matter of identification. They identify with themselves. So indescribably, there is a power. So, few years back, one of my colleague teacher mentioned, you know, an event, an actual event which happened in America, and there was a basketball competition going on, and one of the teams which was famous, and there was one personality in that team who was very tall and was very famous, and that match was happening, and everyone in the stage in the audience, they were expecting that this person will perform and win for his team. And at last, you know, that last basket, you know, he did not do it and they lost it. And you know, the audience got berserk. You know, their emotions are so high, and this personality, you know, he just, you know, they lost the match, and everyone was, you know, very high in their spirits, you know, and they were banging and yelling and shouting. And this basketball player who was, you know, wondering, you know, what happened? You know, we have lost. It's just a game. Why you have to become, you know, too much emotional about it? So when they heard his statement, they still got wild and they just broke, you know, from their stage, and they went rushing to, you know, hit him, attack him, you know. So this is what happens, and we have seen sometimes in the cricket match also all these things happen. And then this person could not understand, array, why they had to get so this about it. So he, in order to experience himself, you know, this, he sat as, you know, incognito as an audience in the basketball match, and he identified with a particular team, and then he was seeing that the rasa what he is relishing, my goodness. So then he understood the plight of the audience when, you know, that incident happened. Similarly, you know, it is Radharani seeing the beauty of Krishna, seeing her attraction, you know, she's relishing that rasa. And Krishna is saying, what is there in me that, you know, what is Radharani experiencing in me that, you know, that's giving her so much taste. So that's why Krishna takes the role of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that's why he is relishing more. So that's why it is the audience. So that's the point I wanted to make, and it will come up now in the next uh, purports. According to Bharat Puri statement, there is naturally a difference between naturally a difference, but there develops non-difference between oneself and the previous devotees by the Shakti of Vibhav and the other elements. By the Shakti of the Vibhav, and I was explaining yesterday's class that one of my very senior Shiksha Gurus, he was mentioning that in his childhood, in a traditional setup in Udupi, as a child, he was every day going to attend this Mahabharat drama. And in the drama, this Draupadi Vastraharan, 7 days, this drama is going on. And Draupadi is requesting, Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, and these scenes are going on. And the audience, identify, the plight of Draupadi with herself, and they get up and they say, Dhritarashtra, you should do something about it. So that is the Shakti of the Vibhav and the other elements, and it is because, there is non-difference between oneself and the previous devotees. So this can happen in dramas also. So that's the point I wanted to make. Okay, 104. 104. Let me take it up. This is a very, very interesting discussion. Dukkadaya spurantyopi jato bhanta swiyatayaridi praudananda chamatkara charvanam eva tanvate. Though previous devotees' suffering appear, dukkadaya spurantopi, in the heart of the present devotee, jhatu bhantah, as his own suffering, swiyataya, those suffering also produce eva tanvate, an astonishing taste of intense bliss. Prauda, the chamatkara charvanam. Charvanam means, just like you eat, na? Punah charvita charvananam. So similarly, although he identifies with others' suffering as his own suffering, but actually because it is transcendental, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryansha Same Bhak, Sthāyi Bhav is transcendental. He experiences, although the suffering, but internally it is internal bliss. This is inconceivable to the human brain. Okay. Parashayatayapyete jhatu bhanta sukadaya hridaye paramananda sandoham upachinvate. This is because, now he is giving in this verse the reason why it is. This is because, ete, when the devotee perceives jhatu bhanta, the happiness of others, parashaya yatapya sukadaya, it gives rise, upachinvate, to incomparable bliss, paramananda sandoham, in his heart. So when he perceives the happiness of others, it gives rise to incomparable bliss. But, in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Amara Jivan Bhajan, he says, Parera Udvega, Parera Sukha, Dukha. Seeing, others' distress, we feel happy. And Parara Sukha, Paragara Udvega, Sukha. Seeing others in distress, we feel happy. So this is our conditioned state. So as long as one doesn't come to the stage of Nishtha, this transformation of the consciousness where we identify others' suffering as our own suffering and others' happiness as our own happiness. In fact, the secret for happiness is when we give happiness to others. By giving happiness to others, and we feel, happy, that is the secret of happiness. But we think that if I give happiness to myself by enjoying, then I'll be happy. But that becomes a source of misery. And the highest is to give happiness to Krishna, which is bhakti. That will give the highest satisfaction. Yenatma suprasidti. This is what is being mentioned here. Okay, now let's carefully study Jiva Goswami's commentary, because it's a very exhaustive commentary. The two verses, 104 and 105, show another aspect of Rati's incomprehensibility. So this 104 and 105, it's incomprehensible how, the suffering produces intense bliss and the happiness gives incomparable bliss. These two verses are speaking about it. Taking into account the lack of distinction of self and others, when suffering of others appears, the devotee takes that it is his own suffering. But when happiness of others appears, the devotee acknowledging that it is others' happiness becomes intensely blissful because others are happy. The present verse explains how happiness arises from suffering. Those experiencing suffering will attain incomparable bliss after the dissipation of the suffering, and the present devotee will consequently feel great bliss as well. Now, further, when a devotee hears an incident from the mouth of the speaker in a condensed form, such as the abduction of Sita, he will enter into that incident while listening to it. So he will enter into that. And this is where I explained uh, about that South Indian Brahmana when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited. If the above statements were not true, it would also not be appropriate to say, Na vina vipralambena sambhoga pushtim ashnute. Without separation, vina vipralambena, the bliss of meeting, sambhoga cannot be nourished. Na pushtim ashnute. Note, this is quoted from Sahitya Darpan 241, which is quoting from somewhere else. This is quoted Vina na vina vipralambena sambhog pushti mashnute. This is quoted in Sahitya Darpan because it is, and what is quoted in Sahitya Darpan is also a quotation from somewhere else. We don't know what. Two verses. Now, Vishnu Chakra Thakur, please hear. Vishnu Chakra Thakur gives a very, very elaborate commentary on this. Two verses describe another facet of Rati's incomprehensibility. When the suffering of the other person becomes the devotee's own suffering by not distinguishing himself from the character in the drama or a poetic work, that suffering also produces a taste of astonishing bliss. That suffering only produces a bliss. Now he gives a scriptural quotation. Na yatra shoko na jara na mrityur nartir cha nartir na chodvegarite kutaschit yat chittatodah कृपया निधम विदाम duranta dukkha prabhavanudarshanat. In that planet of Satyaloka, Yatra, there is neither bereavement, no shoka, nor old age, no jara, nor death, no mrityur. There is no pain of any kind. Na arti means, jana sukritano Arjuna, chaturvida bhajanti mam, jana sukritano Arjuna, artho jigyasu artharti. Artharti means one who is suffering. There is no pain of any kind, and therefore there are no anxieties. Na udvega, cha udvega. Save that sometimes, rite kutaschit, due to consciousness, chittadodha, there is a feeling of compassion, kripaya, for those yet unaware of the process of devotional service. Anidham vidam, and were subjected to unsurpassable miseries in the material world. Duranta dukkha prabhavanu darshana. So they sitting in Satyalok, they are able to see how, people in the lower planetary systems, especially Bhuloka and below, they are going through suffering. And why? Because they are not aware of the process of devotional service. So seeing that, they can feel the misery. This is the glorification of Satyalok. Arti means suffering and Udveg means fear. There is no fear or suffering except for suffering from the heart, because there is a feeling of compassion for the endless suffering of samsara of those who do not know about bhakti. There is a feeling of compassion. But that display of suffering which arises in the heart of Shant Bhaktas in Lord Brahma's assembly in Satyaloka, for those caught in samsara, also reveals deep bliss. So although this display of suffering, which is, manifested in these devotees who are in Brahmaloka, they are Shanta Bhaktas and they are in Brahma's assembly in Satyaloka. It is for them, those are caught in samsara. But actually it reveals also deep bliss. So this is again incomprehensible for us. Also, Prahlad, who mercifully wanted to remove the sufferings of others, unconditionally grieved for the suffering of those in samsara and prayed to the Lord to relieve their suffering. Prayena deva munaya swavimukta kama maunam charanti vijane na parartha nishta naitan vihaya kripanan vimu vimumuksha eko nanyam tvad asya sharanam brahmato anupashye. My dear Lord Narasimha Deva, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, prayena munaya, but they are not interested. They are interested only in their own deliverance. Swa vimukta kama. Not caring for the big cities and towns, they go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence. Maunam charanti vi jane. They don't mix with the people. Jana, they are vi jane. They are not interested in delivering others. Na parartha nishta. Asking for me, ask for me. However, I do not wish to be liberated. Na, na vi mumuksho eko. Eko means I alone. Leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals, etan vihaya kripanan. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Nanyam tvad asya sharanam. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to the shelter of your lotus feet. Brahmato anupashya. So I want to bring them back to your lotus feet. So this is the prayer of Prahlad Maharaj. And there is a one beautiful prayer of again Prahlad Maharaj in the 5th canto when there is a cosmology being described. Swasti astu vishwasya kala prasidatam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mithodya manascha bhadram vajatadadokshaje aveshyatam no matir apya ahetuki. May there be good fortune throughout the universe. Swasti astu vishwasya. And may all envious persons be pacified. Khala prasidatam. So you see, Prahlad Maharaj is praying for the entire good fortune throughout the universe, and all these envious persons, let them become pacified. May all living entities, Bhutani, become calm, Shivam, by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Dhayanto mito dhiya. For by accepting devotional service, bhajata, they will think of each other's welfare. Manascha Badram. Therefore, let us all know, engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Aveshatam, Lord Krishna, Dokshite, and always remain absorbed in the thought of him. Matir apya ahetuki. So this is the prayer of Prahlad Maharaj. As well in the 9th canto, Rantidev is famous for his desire to deliver others from suffering. Therefore, the appearance of the happiness in the hearts of these devotees is actually a form of highest bliss, not a direct experience of suffering, because it is an established fact that the cause of material suffering is previous and present commissions of sins. So the suffering what the sadhakas might be going through is because of kleshagni which is happening, destruction of prarabdha and aprarabdha. And those who are non-devotees, they are just suffering their karma because they are not practicing bhakti. So their suffering is also more. But the devotees, sadhakas who are experiencing these sufferings, they are actually not getting they are not suffering, but they are getting purified. So then what to speak of siddhas who are free from all, past and present? Aprarabdha is destroyed. There is Shubhani, Shubhatvam has happened, and they are experiencing bliss. So this is actually the Ladini Shakti, which is manifested in the heart of such a Siddha, that transforms into bliss, Sandrananda, and that Ladini Shakti, which has transformed into Sandrananda, when that Siddha sees in relation to the people who are suffering, that he identifies that with himself, the suffering, but it turns into compassion, karunaras, and there is intense bliss also, which he's experiencing. So that is the understanding. Where is the question of sin for these devotees? By remembrance of whom others become free from sin. So here is another rhetoric question. These devotees who are experiencing this kind of bliss, there is no question, because just by seeing these devotees, others become free from sin. दर्शने पवित्र करो यही तुम्हारा गुण गंगार पार्षद पाश्चात्य पवन दर्शने पवित्र करो यही तुम्हारा गुण. No, this is Narottam Das Thakur speaking. And again, to give a praman for this statement, he gives a quotation from the first canto, 19th chapter, verse 33. Parikshit's, when he has darshan of Sukhdev, Yesham samsparanat pumsam sadhya shuddhanti vegraha kim punardarshana sparsha pada sauchasanadibhi. Simply by our remembering you, Esham samsparanat pumsam, our houses become instantly sanctified. Sadhya shuddhanti vegraha. And what to speak of seeing you? Kim punar darshana, touching you, sparsha, washing your holy feet, pada saucha, and offering a seat in our home, asanadipi. So the Ganga can purify, but you have to actually go to the Ganges river, have the darshan of Ganga and take bath, and all these are purifiers of sins. But the pure devotee, by his darshan, you'll get purified. Even by remembering him in the mind, you will get purified. So that is the potency of a pure devotee. Whereas the Ganga, you have to physically visit there. Thus the devotee thinks, whatever happens to me does not matter. Let me suffer eternally, but may my master be always happy with my. So that is the preaching mood. That's why we see, many Bhagavats, who are sannyasis, who take on, disciples, and through the process of initiation they go through suffering, but they are ready to suffer, because by connecting these devotees, Krishna gets happiness. So they take so much trouble for preaching. So this is because they are experiencing this. And when the present devotee sees the happiness of others, it gives rise to incomparable bliss in his heart. Very, very beautiful commentary. And anyone has any questions up till now what we have discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Vinita Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Yes.
Prabhuji, when you explained this last verse,
Hmm.
could we connect that pastime of Narad being born as Narad because his previous birth was his mother was serving the holy people, holy
Vedantas.
saint.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Could we connect this with that because he's ate the remnants of the holy people and he got the birth
But
of
what,
Naradji?
we are discussing how the suffering, the Bhakti Vedantas, showed compassion to Narad. So, what's your question? We are discussing this point that how the sufferings of others, these devotees experience the same suffering themselves in their heart because of the
Yeah, yes,
identity, and then, but it actually gives them intense bliss. That is the point we are discussing.
yes. But even his life transforms after that service, right?
Yeah, his life transforms because he got the mercy from the Bhakti Vedantas. That is Satam Kripa. Because they are
Okay.
carrying that Kripa Shakti of the Lord in their heart, the
Okay.
Bhakti Vedantas. But
So,
again, I want to make it clear this incomprehensibility of how even the pure devotees who are identifying themselves with the suffering of others, that also gives them intense bliss. That is the point we are, the whole focus is.
Yes, Rupaji, I got that, but uh, maybe I'm not able to explain, but I got your point here. Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got it.
Okay, okay. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. So now let's go to the next verse. Sadbhavaschet vibhava de किंचिन्मात्रस्य जायते चतुष्टयाक्षेपात् पूर्णतैवोपपद्यते. If just a little of kinchin matrasya, vibhava and the other element, vibhavade cha, related to the associates of the Lord appear in a devotee, sadbhavas iti jayate, immediately sadhyas, he achieves completeness. Purna ta eva upapadyate, from the appearance of akshepat, the vibhavas, anubhavas, sati vibhavas, and the vichari bhavas. So again, this point, even in vibhava, Rupa Goswami had made, when somebody is having, you know, this rati, a slight contact with the vibhav, you know, immediately, he's able to experience all these rasas manifesting in his heart. I know there is the Mukunda, who was a Vaidya, the king. The king called him, and the king was being fanned by the chamara. There was a peacock feather. Just seeing that, the peacock feather was a uddipan for him, and because this is in relation to Krishna, and he went into ecstasy. Vibhav, Anubhav, Satviki Bhavs, Vyabhichari Bhavs, all manifested in him. There was, he went into something called as a kind of a paralysis, epilepsy, it is called, right? In a medical term, but the emotion is, I don't know. We had studied that in the Vyabhichari Bhavs. I don't recollect. So just by slight contact with the Vibhava and other elements related to the associates of the Lord appear in the duality. And all this happens. So that is, how powerful it is. And, there is another example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's just walking to the ocean and he sees a sand dune and he thinks it is Govardhan and he starts running. For us in conditioned state, we just come slight contact with the sense object and we rush. The Vegas pull us in that direction. That is our situation. Another power Rati is described. So this is the power of Rati. Even a little of the Vibha and the other elements belonging to the associates of the Lord in his pastime, Sadbhava, manifest in the heart of the present devotee, which has favorable impressions from previous lives, immediately he achieves full satisfaction from the apparitions of the four bhavas. Kimcha. Now, I think he's mentioning another point. Rati stitanu karsheshu laukikattvadi hetuvi rasasyaneti natyagya yad ahuruktam eva tat. However, it is correct when uktam eva tat, the literary experts, natagya, the experts who write literary works on natya, say that Yadahu, Rati depicted in characters through literary works, Rati Sita Anu Karsheshu, will not in itself produce rasa. Rasa syan neti, since mundane aspects are called laukik katvadi hetubi. So let us see what uh, the commentary will speak, and then you will understand this. Though Rati produces rasa through the mind of the experiences of the audience, someone may propose that dramatic presentations can also directly produce an experience of rasa. The author rejects this notion with an approving statement from others. He rejects this notion. Why is rejecting? We'll see. The approving statement from others. Natagya here means literary experts who are expert in material literatures. According to them, there are three supporting factors in the production of rasa. So this is Natya Shastra and it is material rasa. Please remember, Bharat Muni, he is one of the famous Natya He's Adi Kavi for Natya, you can say. So according to these Natyagayas, there are three supporting factors for production of rasa. What are the three supporting factors? In seeing a drama, these factors are the characteristics, character impersonated. So, somebody, X say he personifies as Narsimhadev. So the character impersonated, that is Nala, famous character in Sanskrit literature. The actor, so the actor who is impersonating himself, and the spectator seeing the performance. So there is a spectator. Sometimes when you're seeing dramas, you can see the character impersonated. Oh, this is Narsimhadev, but maybe who is this? You cannot identify. Oh, it is our devotee. He's acting like this. You cannot maybe identify that. Because he's the way he is impersonified. And when you identify that, oh, this is my friend actor, you will relish more. And all this is being relished by whom? It is a spectator. So recently, our IYF students played a drama of how IYF student gets entangled in Maya. You know, uh, so that they were, and he is after a girl, and that is what is being described in the drama. And there was one boy who was playing the role of the girl. And I was stunned because, he was exactly looking like a girl. And I knew this boy. And it took me a lot of time to identify, oh, this is our student, who is acting, he's impersonated as a girl. And after this drama was over, many days, whenever I used to meet him, I used to, just tease him. And we used to relish and both smile. So it is a spectator. So there are three things. Please remember: the character impersonated, the actor, and the spectator. And now this is in the drama. In hearing a poetic work, these factors are the character described. So in hearing a poetic work, there is the, factors are the characters described, the speaker who is describing the character, and the hearer. Like, some sannyasi is giving the glories of, the character of Parikshit Maharaj. So the speaker is describing the character Parikshit Maharaj, and the speaker is a sannyasi, and then the audience are the devotees who are hearing. These experts do not consider that Rasha issues from the characters impersonated by acting or depicted by recitation, because these in themselves are just depictions of common characters, Laukikatvadi, with limitations possessing qualities such as fear. So these persons who are doing these depictions, they are themselves common characters, and they have limitations. That means they have these material qualities. Now note, the characters represented or the literary works do not possess inherent emotions such as fear or joy, which are the components of rasa. These emotions are experienced only through the performance in the presence of the audience. As well, the actor or the reciter cannot really cause rasa, because the actors and the reciters are simply performers earning a living. So that's why Prabhupada heavy. Prabhupada was very heavy. In many of his purports, you will see in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada repeatedly says that one should not hear from professional Bhagavatam reciters who recite to earn their livelihood. It will not produce rasa. It will not cause rasa. And the actors, they are all having, qualities such as fear. They are common characters. And that is why even when we perform dramas, it is our devotees who should perform these dramas. And that can, that is uh, devotional, and that can help us to relish some rasa. Okay, so that is the point being. Does the literary experts consider that rasa is caused by the spectator or audience? The spectators are able to experience in their hearts something above the common material ingredient, alaukika, something transcendental due to the expertise of the literary work. So, uh, it is the audience who are experiencing in their hearts. Now, it's again a footnote. Even the experience of secular rasa in secular literature can take place with the perceiver. The expertise of the work and the actors help this to take place. But ultimately rasa resides in the perceiver. So this is the main point. Rasa resides in the perceiver. However, the spectators or audience must have the proper previous impressions or sympathy for this to take place. Yes, the audience have to have this previous impressions. So in the case of devotees, that means they have these previous impressions of rasa. Somebody who likes, cricket match, and he has these previous impressions, and that's why he goes to the stadium and he's relishing rasa. Old Mimamsakas, unsympathetic persons, could not experience the same rasa. The author agrees with this. So these unsympathetic persons who have no sympathy, they cannot experience rasa. This does not apply, however, to depicting characters such as Ram and Sita, who are full of unlimited qualities and who can enter into the depicted characters. Thus, those depictions are a cause of rasa. So actually, this was the tradition which, Prabhupada knew and what was happening in the previous times. That when dramas were enacted, the characters who were chosen, their character was good. And it was said that when they used to act, actually, what is to happen? These qualities of Lord Ram would enter into the depicted characters. And they used to, just like a ghost entering somebody's body, you know. So in India, it is very famous, especially in Devi temples or South, in South, especially Karnataka, Udupi, Yakshagana, there is, so where that entity enters into our heart and then somebody starts speaking, starts revealing. So they enter. Those were the characters who used to enact in the dramas, and that's why the audience used to experience rasa. But Prabhupada, saw that this was completely, you know, uh, it was completely distorted, especially in Vrindavan, where, the dramas were performed where Radha and Krishna and they used to perform the Ras Leela, and there was all mundane, they are trying to relish this mundane thing and it's completely degraded. So that's why Prabhupada was not in favor of this. But genuine dramas based on the pastimes of the Lord performed by devotees, Prabhupada encouraged that. But especially the Ras Leela, you know, the characters who were performing, they were not having the good character. Plus, they were, through this, they were trying to, relish some mundane rasa and depict it as, the highest rasa which Radha and Krishna are relishing. This was all, a completely distorted, perverted thing. And Prabhupada knew about it and Prabhupada did not encourage this. But other dramas, based on different pastimes of the Lord, this was encouraged. There is one actual incident where Prabhupada and all his devotees were watching a drama being enacted by the devotees. And this drama was the Kaliya Daman Leela. And Krishna is caught in the coils of the Kaliya. And one of Prabhupada's disciple, Mataji, she was performing the role of Mother Yashoda. And, Krishna, her son, is caught in the coils of Kaliya and she is calling out, out of deep Vatsalya Ras affection, Krishna in great separation. And Prabhupada liked the drama. And after the drama was over, Prabhupada told this disciple, Mataji, that, you chant the name also like this, call out Krishna out of desperation, and then Krishna will come and take you back home, back to Godhead. So these are favorable for us, but but we should see that that the characters are very, very good. If the actors or the reciters also have full sympathy with the portrayed character, they can also cause rasa. But today's characters, who are Ramayana, the modern Ramayana, that cannot be relished as much as the traditional Ramayana, which was you know there, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, maybe I don't know how many years, 20, 25 years back. We cannot have that full sympathy because these characters don't have that qualities. They have all habits, so that cannot cause much rasa. That's the point. Okay, so I hope this was clear. I will take the next verse as a long commentary, so I will not take it up now. So any questions you have on this up till now, what we have discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? I hope I was trying to make the point and it is clear to the devotees about this. Okay, so then we will stop here, and tomorrow we'll continue the discussion and try to complete the syllabus. There's only some few more verses remaining, and we'll try to complete. Hare Krishna. श्री भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय. हरे कृष्णा.